Hey everyone, just thought I'd do another update. It's been a while. We've been very hard at work. There have been some very cool developments. Some I can tell you about, some I can't. We've been invited as the showcase gold tier supplier for the European Warner Brothers Summit next week, where I will be meeting some of the top brass as they've been hearing so much about us. That is good. The new contract for the next 3 years has also been signed, and we've gotten some expansions. Part of those are figures, but I've learned that should not talk too much about figures before we actually launch them because, well, we've seen some of the illegal companies basically worked on my list of 18 months ago. So we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. So we're going to be learning together with the group how this works in the figure game with regards to the approvals. And this is because what Warner Brother calls the third-party approvals, which in this case means actors and actresses or the actors and actresses' estates, will have approval on both whether or not they want the product at all and how it should look. So therefore, I will be developing several figures at once based on your community feedback already. We have selected the most requested 4 or 5 to begin prototyping. Now, the beauty of this is that figures are so much easier and actually more low cost than vehicles, which is also why there are so many figure companies and no vehicle companies, especially both legally and illegally. And that is also why I'm not afraid to make some prototypes of the figures and basically be ready to show you what we've got and open it for pre-orders as soon as we announce that we're working on something. This will prevent others from interfering with that. On the other hand, I always value the input from the community. So that means basically we'll be showing you the prototype that we have, but before we go into production, of course, there will be the chance for a lot of community feedback. Now, I've been doing my research, expanding the supply chain. We'll be working with the same people who did the Iron Scavenger for us, although some of them have already moved on to other companies. Some of them work at InArt now. Anyway, from the looks of it, even though we're going to be doing extremely limited edition, especially compared to other companies, based on the sales numbers I've been hearing, it's going to be the same as the vehicle. So we're making like 10% of what a normal run would be, which is why we can do the figures they can't. That's the good thing. Even though we only do 10%, and as you know, most of the cost is in the extreme limited nature because you're making custom molds for these products and that need to be paid for by fewer people. But even then, because we have so little overhead, it seems like we can get to the price point of a Hot Toys figure, even though it's going to be 10 times more limited edition. So it's not going to be extremely expensive based on what we're seeing right now. Part of that would also depend on the community feedback. So I've recruited some very, very talented sculptors, painters, as well as the clothing pattern makers. So we can definitely, we're aiming for at least that Hot Toys level. And then we can determine the amount of features, which is partially a function of how many people will actually pre-order. Of course, if you look at the 1989, all the extras that we could throw at that, and I still have one more surprise up my sleeve for the 1989, by the way, the 1989 Batmobile that I'm not going to tell you yet. That again is a free edition. This is what happens if a larger group supports it. My mold costs go down per person because it's a fixed amount. So let's say it's $100,000. Yes, it's $100,000 for an average vehicle. If I have to divide that by 500 versus 1,000 versus 2,000, you can imagine that cost going down. And then that means I can add more features instead of taking the extra profit. Now, the same will go for figures, which means then some of the people I've recruited said, well, you're famous for light up features, effects, and sounds. Maybe you could get like a light up features in the base and use the same sound and remotes to have the actors say stuff in the bases. I think that's a very cool idea. Might be a licensing issue that we had to tackle to use the sound files. Anyway, lots of good ideas, lots of cool stuff. I don't know how long this will take. So when Warner Brothers, if I submit a product or a design, will have a set amount of time before they have to respond to me. The third parties don't have to. So actors, actresses, teams surrounding them, or the estates of actors and actresses can take as long as they want. That's, I think, why some of the figures that Hot Toys has had to delay have been taking so long, because nobody controls that. And so it might be a year before I have anything I can show, even though that's why I'm doing 4 or 5 figures at the same time, because I don't expect all those 4 or 5 figures to get approvals at the same time. So basically, we're working on some very cool stuff. We're aiming for that Hot Toys price point, even though we're going to be doing like 10%, like an extremely limited edition, a couple of hundred worldwide to begin with. Features will depend on how many people support, like the 1989 Batmobile. Joker here, interrupting. Sorry, I recorded the entire video. You're going to see the rest of it soon, but I forgot that I hadn't told you about the Batman animated series. So that was the popular vote for the next Batmobile. I'm still working on that, but more than any other, there are several versions and several sizes out there. The size variation somewhere between 120 centimeters, what is that, 3.5, 4 feet, which diagonally placed would just fit in most garage shelves and like the DF-120s that I use for Magic Case, versus some versions that suggest it might be 5 feet. Well, the 5-foot version is off the table regardless, as has been discussed on several YouTube channels already by the fans. There's no display space for 5-foot models. Plus, think about the mold costs. That is the biggest investment always. Have a 5-foot model. That means that the molds will at least be 6 feet, so that's taller than the average American male. So that would make the cost stratospheric for those big metal molds, 3D puzzles. So especially with a product that would be best case scenario have the same support as the 1995, was also very tight, hard to even break even on. So we're going to be focusing on developing a model that is closer to that. I think 48 inches is at least around 120 centimeters, which is the size that I've seen somewhere on the technical drawings for the animated series. If you can even talk about that, the model is going to be resembling the DC Collectibles 12 scale version, but improved, of course. And then the only thing we can easily do is make 2 different versions in terms of paint job. So one have the flat black paint, the other have a more blue hue, maybe semi-gloss, I don't know, to mimic what you sometimes also see, so that people have a choice, or maybe get both, I don't know. Price-wise, because of the size, even though there's going to be less detail in these than other Batmobiles, most of the price is just a function of the size, which again, if you have 120 centimeter mold, then that's going to be a car that's going to be 140, 145 centimeter mold. So again, you're looking at that 5 feet for a mold. That's larger than most Batmobile bodies. So I will have more information about which design we're going with and what the price will be in the next couple of weeks. Then, with that extra information that the people will have, I will put it to another vote. Okay, so basically, this is what we can offer. 120 centimeters, put diagonally, it will fit on 120 DF 120 module case or most garage shells that people use. It's going to be somewhat affordable. Again, I expect around the same price point as the normal Batmobiles, and we'll be offering the two versions, the matte black version and the one with the bluish hue around the edges. We're working on how to do that. We're not going to be able to do any extra tooling, so people suggesting that we make both versions or make the realistic versions with plugins, that would mean much more engineering, double the amount of molds, so double the molding cost, and it would show all kinds of weird engineering lines and panel lines for all the parts to fit in. So that's really, really not an option. Again, for any Batmobile, the mold cost is a six-figure number. Doubling that it would be crazy, especially even if I were to do that for like the 1989 Batmobile, which is the most supported project so far. It would be hard, not to mention something that's going to do a couple of units, 100 unit worldwide. That's just crazy. So back to the regular program and the other updates on everything that I can think of now. With regards to the other developments, so let's go by the list. The 1995 is all done. Everybody whose unit has been paid off has been shipped, and I've been told by FedEx that the tracking information and the tracking emails should start arriving this weekend. So please don't email us before. Everybody who's paid off their order in shipping, it has been picked up. And as I've been telling the group in the last few months, of course, because of the issues in the war in the Red Sea, a lot of our supply ships that bring us the parts have to go around Africa, which takes weeks extra. That's why there's been a slight delay. On the other hand, we've been able to fold all the batches for 1995 into one. And so all of them are done. So if you have a 1995 on order and you want it now, just pay your order off. We'll send you shipping charge and we can ship within one business day. Same goes for all the Batwings are done. All the 2022s are done and ready for shipment. With regards to the newly developed products, well, I've shown a video of the 1966 Bat Cycle. Based on that, I've gotten a few feedback comments, not as much as usual. So I expect to implement those changes where we can. Some of them are impossible. It'll take another 2 weeks, maybe 3, to finalize the drawing and the engineering surrounding the drawing. Then we can move into prototyping. So I think you will see a physical prototype of the 1966 Bat Cycle, maybe end of April, otherwise early May. For the Jedi Starfighter, we're already done with the drawing and the feedback. We had just one issue to fix. That's been done. So that is already going into prototyping. So we're moving very fast through that. I expect to have something to show end of April, early May for the Jedi Starfighter. We're also working on the half R2-D2 body that you can put your dome on. We're definitely not doing the whole figure because that is just an accident waiting to happen. We're not doing that because of the extreme custom and limited nature. Just a couple of the vehicles worldwide is going to be what we can do. Then the 1989 Batmobile, still on schedule, but as you know, making those molds, those six-figure molds, it takes, I think, 5 to 6 months. So we won't be seeing much until the summer, when we expect to start shipping the first batches around July or August. Of course, we don't know what the supply chain will do, how the situations in the world will develop, maybe escalate. So please bear with us on that. I do expect to show stuff in little parts to check. So like maybe the dashboard, final version of the dashboard, that is scheduled to be the first part that we develop and do the tooling and do the test parts of, and then do the test parts of all the paint. Because if you have seen all my update videos, that you know that there's going to be tooling and molds for the paint application in the cockpit alone will take 30 different molds to do that. I'll have something to show there in May, I think. And then I want to do a couple of more paint tests, because if you look at the way we painted the prototype, it looks perfect in the video and the pictures, just like it did on screen with that little bit of green hue. But there are certain lights that we have found where the green hue is too much, so we're going to dial that down, do a couple of tests on that. So yeah, that makes, I think that's all, right? So we're working on figures. I hope to have something to show, but I'm not going to show you anything until I know I have approval from the actors and actresses and the estates and the teams to at least do something. We'll have a prototype ready to show you when we announce. And then, of course, we'll take your community feedback into account. Again, price point is going to be around the Hot Toys price point. We're going to be, the extra features are going to depend on basically on orders, I think, or if the group votes we want more and we're willing to pay, I don't know, $50 extra per figure or something like that. We're also going to try to approach the actors and actresses to see if they're open to doing signature versions like we did with Zack Snyder for charity, and like we did with Burt Ward for the 1966 Bat Cycle. I don't expect too much from that, but we are going to be seeing what we can do there. Now, 1995, all done, ready to ship. For the people who paid off the shipping, you will get the tracking email and the tracking information somewhere in this weekend. If you haven't gotten anything by, let's say, Tuesday, then contact us. Not before, because that will swamp us. We've been very, very, very busy. Jedi Starfighter ahead of schedule, prototype, let's say early May. 1966 Bat Cycle on schedule, let's say prototype end of April, early May. Then we'll be, of course, then there's more to tell. Then we can develop a prototype for the 12 scale 1989 Batmobile. As I've said before, we will be developing something for that and see if we can make that a viable product through something like Kickstarter. And then as soon as the Bat Cycle prototype is approved somewhere in May or June, we can put it to a vote to the community to vote for the next 1966 project. Now, on the short list, from what I've heard, is the 1966 Batcave, of course, still the 1966 Batboat and trailer. Maybe let's add the Black Beauty to that short list for 1966 projects as well. And finally, we could add the Batcopter, but that will be a huge behemoth, so I'm not sure if that's going to help and that's going to work. With regards to other products and development, I'm going to put a pin in that for now until the summer at least. So let's say for the next Star Wars project, that's going to be until the summer. And we're working on a couple of other ideas for next year as well that I can't tell you much about yet. So cool stuff coming up. One more surprise for the 1989 Batmobile coming up. And I hope this answers your questions. We've had a record year last year. Warner Brothers is very excited about working with us. We will be visiting Warner Brothers again this year. Might be that we're going back to London. Might be that we're going to be going to them in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. If I do choose to go to the United States, and all that depends on the summit meeting that we're invited to next week. If I do go to the States, then of course I'll let you guys know. Maybe we can do a get together or something. I don't expect it's very likely, so don't get your hopes up. But if I get to go to the States, that will be this summer if I go, and then I'll let you guys know, and girls, and I would love to meet as many of you as possible. This year, if nothing crazy happens in the world, will be the same banner year as last year. We hope to win the Collectible Company of the Year award again. And work together with we're working together with a big company I can't tell you about. Working together again with Adam Savage. I believe Justin from Justin's collection will do a review on the 1995 Batmobile he's ordered, so you'll be seeing something of that go live in the next few weeks. He should get his, because that's also shipping out this batch, he should get his in about a week or so. Then I'll need 1 or 2 weeks to do record, so in about 2 or 3 weeks you'll see Justin's review on that. I'm sure there will be other reviews of the 1995. For the 1995 owners, please read the manual first. So there's going to be a magnet included for the 1995 Batmobile that you can lift up the canopy and move it forward. You'll need to do that first, as it says in the manual, before you insert the big top wing. That might be a tight fit, but it should fit. Then there are small engravings at the bottoms of the small winglets that say left and right. You can put them there. And yeah, just read the manual before you assemble. And a few small upgrades there. We added some plastic corners to the art box of the 1995, and we've upgraded from packing tape to securing the model with Velcro. So again, lots of cool stuff. I'm very excited for the stuff that's about to happen, and especially all the expansion that we're doing. With regards to new licenses and new IPs, I'm also working on that. But that's turns out all the other companies are just as slow as Warner Brothers. So no news there, except that we're working on it. Still high on my list are the Kit Knight Rider, Jurassic Park, Mach 5 Speed Racer, James Bond DB5. So those are still very much on my wish list, and I will try to get to all of them one way or the other. But it's sometimes in the hands of the gods, and I cannot control everything there. Thank you for watching. Hope you like this update. Have a great weekend. Thank you all for your amazing support. And until the next time, bye.